begin by telling you a little bit more about me, what I do, how I've got here, where I stand, what I want to do, and then perhaps we can touch upon the subject that we have been given today. Be a leader, what it is, what it means, how to get there, why, when, and who. So, my name is Rabia. I'm a 20-year-old female that come from a town called Chesham in Buckinghamshire, which is situated just outside of London. Now, I've lived there all my life. I had a very, very happy childhood. I'm the daughter of 2 immigrants who came to England from Pakistan. My dad came when he was in his teens, my mother came when she was 4 years old. They had nothing, a basic education, and that was it, and hard work. That's all they had. They had 5 children, of which I'm the second youngest. And all my life, all I did was see my parents work, work, and work. Simply so they could provide their children with the opportunities that they never had. Give their children the future that they couldn't ever have. Why? Because there was no time in their life to do that. There was no time in their life to be leaders, to change the world. They had responsibilities, they had priorities. But what they wanted us to do was to know that nothing can hold us back. So, as I was younger, I had this very happy childhood, lived my life, went to school, played with my friends, and every 3 months I used to change what I wanted to do in life. First, I wanted to be a police officer, then I wanted to be a doctor, then I wanted to be a barrister. And then 3 months later, I wanted to be a beautician. Then after that, I wanted to go and work across the world in third world countries. And I changed it all the time. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And quite honestly, I didn't care. I was young, I had my friends, I was going to school, and I never thought about it. All I knew was that my parents wanted me to go to university, get my degree, get a good job, get married, and have 2 or 5 children. It's a good plan. And that's what I really thought my life was going to be like. You know, I had it all set out, wasn't worried about anything. I was very happy to follow that route. What changed? Something changed. I went to Pakistan with my family to go and visit some relatives, have a good time, enjoy the summer, come back, go to school, and finish off my GCSEs. Did that happen? Not quite as straightforward as I thought it would be. While I was in Pakistan, the country was hit by one of its worst earthquakes it's ever had. I was there when it happened. I was in the country. I felt it when it happened. And I was one of the lucky ones who just survived with nothing but the experience. Some people weren't quite that lucky. And some of those people who weren't that lucky were small children who went to a school nearby where I lived. Because those children had just woken up, had gone to school, and the roof had collapsed on top of them. The entire building had collapsed, and they were stuck. They were stuck there in the darkness. They were stuck there with nowhere to go. They were stuck there not knowing if anybody was going to come and help them. And nobody did from the government. For 48 hours, those children were stuck there with no food, no water, no lighting, nothing. Crying out for their mothers, their fathers, their brothers, their sisters. Crying out to God just to come and save them so they don't die there. These children were 7 years old and under. That school wasn't too far from us. So me and my sister, we went to that school along with so many other people. And we began to lift that rubble up. Lift those rocks up. Start lifting all that concrete up to see if we could get to them. To see if we could create even a small space that we could send in water to them. That we could send in some food to them. So we could just tell them and shout out to them and tell them that they're not on their own, that we're going to try and help them. We're going to try and get the army across and let them know so they can be saved. And for 2 days, we stood there and we slept there and we heard them cry. We heard them scream out. And for 2 days and 2 nights, we did our best. Eventually the army came and was able to lift all the rubble up. A lot of the students survived, some of them didn't. And that's when the real wake-up call for me came. That's when I realised that I can no longer continue to live my life just waiting around, doing nothing, having no purpose, having no vision. That's when I realised that if I didn't do something with my life right now, I might never get the chance. I might not survive tomorrow. I came back to the UK, emotionally, physically, mentally disturbed, abused, and very, very insecure. And I still didn't know what I was going to do in life. I still had no idea what I was going to do, where I was going to work, what I was going to study. I just started a course in beauty therapy because I thought I wanted to be a beautician. But I knew one thing. I wanted to work somewhere, somehow, in education. So like so many of you are related to the educational process in this building right now, I knew I wanted to do something like that. I knew that I wanted to impact for the education of young children because I realised how important it is. The sacrifices that the parents of these children made just to send them to school, even though they had no money. They came from very, very poor backgrounds, but the parents of these children would send them to school and perhaps not have a meal in the day. That's how important education was for these young children, and some of them died. So, coming back to the UK, I became a governor at the age of 19, the youngest ever Muslim female governor in the whole country for a school. A primary school for young children. I was sitting on the staff dismissal committee, told those people to account who we entrust our children with for 8 hours or more every single day to provide them with a foundation that we believe is so intrinsic to their quality of life. I became the SEN governor, the special governor for children with special education needs, simply because I didn't want those children who were different to feel like they were any different from other children in that school, to feel that they were less able than any of the other children in the school. And that for me was important. It was important because I never wanted them to feel that they couldn't achieve, that nobody looked after them, that they were always put last. And that fulfilled that hole in me, that hole that wanted to help, that hole that said, where is my purpose? Where am I going in life? That fulfilled it, and I was quite happy. I was quite happy with that. I was content, knowing I'm doing my bit. I'm helping the educational process. I'm there for these children. I'm supporting education. I'm supporting them, their welfare, their needs, and I'm helping them create a better future for their life. That made me happy, and also made me feel like I've done enough now. You know, I've done enough. So, at the same time I was in college, I just finished my beauty therapy course, and then, typically being who I am, I decided that I don't want to be a beautician anymore, but I want to be a psychologist. So, I went to university and started studying law, philosophy and psychology. I applied to the University of London to do a psychology degree so I could go and work in the humanitarian aid sector. Go work in third world countries providing humanitarian aid. That was my life's plan. And I was happy. I got accepted. I was even more happy. I was doing all the duties that a former governor does. I was happy. But then I got thinking, why am I restricting myself to primary care and primary school students? Why am I doing that to myself? I am in an institute, one of the biggest colleges in my county, with thousands of students walking every single day. I should do something for them. And for the first time there was a position for an elected president for that institute. And I won. I did a very successful campaign, I put my heart and soul into it, and I have now represented thousands of students on a day-to-day basis who came through the doors of that college, not just to get an academic education, but to get a vocational one, to get a professional one, to study for degrees in that college. And that to me became even more important, because not only was I helping young children get the start and the foundation they need in life to go up the ladder, but I was helping those children and those students who are already halfway there, in ensuring that they don't quit, in ensuring that they get the best education, but also ensuring they get the best quality of life. Because one thing I had realised while I was in Pakistan was, although these people didn't have money, they didn't have all the things that I had, or that you have, or that the people we know may have. But they were after the quality of life, something money can't buy, something only we can have intrinsically to bring out. So after doing that, I felt very happy with myself. And I thought, Rabia, that's enough. Concentrate on your degree, go to university, and you can carry on doing this. And then something happened that changed my life yet again. I was sitting at home one day with my parents watching TV. I had my cup of tea, and we were watching the channel news. Looking at our Prime Minister talk about economic reform, talk about coming out of a recession, about coming out of the depression, about getting back into employment, about creating jobs. And I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, this guy has not a clue about what he's going on about. He has absolutely no idea how to run a country. He's really wrong in all his policies, and I think he's absolutely crap. So I'm sitting there having a go at the Prime Minister on TV, thinking, you need to clean up your cabinet, and Dad, this person's really bad, they've done so much damage to the way that our economy runs and so forth. Now let me tell you a little bit something about my dad. He's a very laid-back person. Very calm, very quiet sometimes. And all my life he's never said anything to me. Never, very quiet in himself. And all of a sudden, he got up and left the room. And I knew that something was wrong. And I was scared. And I thought to myself, uh-oh, I'm going to be in trouble now. What have I said? What have I done? You know, and I look at my mum and I go, Mum, did I swear? Did I shout? Did I say something inappropriate that he's got offended and he's left the room? And my mother turned around and she said, wait, you need to go and ask him, you need to say sorry. So I'm walking to the kitchen behind my dad and I'm like, hi Dad, how are you? Feeling really scared, thinking I'm in so much trouble, I don't even know what I've done. And I go to Dad, is everything okay? And he turns around to me and he goes, I thought I raised you better than that. And my mouth just dropped open, and I'm thinking to myself, uh-oh, he's really angry. What have I done? Did I do something now? Did I do something 2 weeks ago that he's just found out about? What's going on? And I thought, I'm really sorry, Dad, what have I done? What I've done to upset you so much? And he turned around to me and he goes, if you're going to criticise, do something about it. If you're not going to do anything about it, then you shut up and you deal with it. That's how I brought you up. That is the woman I have raised. And that really, really shocked me to the core. Because I realised then in that moment that he was right. He was absolutely fundamentally right. I could be sitting in front of that TV screen for the next 20 years of my life with a cup of tea in my hand, criticising, pointing out all the faults, pointing out where people were going wrong, and doing nothing about it, and nothing would change. That would have been my life story. That would have been the person I would have grown up into being. Perhaps now I was sitting with my parents, in 20 years' time I would be sitting with my husband and my grandchildren, and they would be doing the same thing. And as a family, collectively, we would have been doing the same thing. And I realised then that it was wrong, and it had to stop, and it had to stop now. So, at the end of that very month, I decided to run in the local elections, knowing full well that the chances of me winning were practically non-existent. It wasn't going to happen. Why? Because although I love the town that I was brought up in, it's very different to the person I am. I come from a working class family. I come from parents who were immigrants to that country. My dad worked as a taxi driver, as a factory worker. I was one of 5 children. We never had all the luxuries that the other children living in my town had, who were brought up in more affluent families. These other people had Oxford and Cambridge degrees. They lived in bigger houses. They had more cars. They were used to a different way of life. But to be honest, I never thought I was different. And that's why I loved where I grew up in, and I felt safe in standing up for those elections. And for the first time in my life, in the very place that I called home, in the one place that I felt safe, safe enough to never lock doors, safe enough to never lock our cars, I experienced direct racism, direct discrimination. People coming up to me and saying, I don't trust you, you're a Muslim. I'm not going to vote for you. I don't like you, you're a Pakistani. I'm not going to vote for you. All you guys are terrorists. We're not going to put you in our council chambers. And at the same time, they'd insult me, but they'd compliment me and say, but I really like what you're doing, I think it's really good. And that to me was amusing, but it was very, very sad and really hurtful. Because I think to myself, these people believe in what I'm doing. They understand my vision, they understand where I'm coming from, and they think it's great. But simply because I look different from them, simply because I pray in a different manner to them, I dress in a different manner to them, I speak another language that's different to them, they don't want to vote for me, they don't want to know me, and they won't give me that chance. And day after day I would go out and I would go campaigning, and I would experience this, and it would really, really hurt me. And there were many times I'd come home and I would cry in front of my mum. I'd close the front door and I would break down in tears, saying, I can't do it. I can't go out day after day and face this abuse, and what I'm trying to do is be a voice for these people. If they don't want me, if they are going to hate on me so much, why am I doing this? The elections were happening the same month my exams were. And I said to my mum, I have to stop, because it's hurting me so much, and at least I should concentrate on my exams so I don't fail in that aspect of my life as well. But at least I can go to university once I fail in these elections. I have to stop, I can't do it. And that's when another defining moment in my life came about. Because my mother said 2 sentences to me. And this proves how powerful words really are, and how much of an impact they can have on somebody's life. She turned around to me and she said, Rabia, it's not about winning or losing. In fact, even if you lose the seat you are contesting to somebody else, you would have still won. Because if you have succeeded in inspiring even one person out of the entire country to stand in elections, to have a voice on a platform that was until now inaccessible to them, because it wasn't heard of for a young person at the age of 20 to stand up in the council chamber and be voted in. A young person who was female, a young person who came from an immigrant background, a young person who came from a working class family, a young female, a young Muslim. If you inspire even one person by what you have done, you would have succeeded in not winning that seat, that's not important. But you would have succeeded in inspiring a whole nation, a whole generation of young people to do something with their lives on that platform. You will have succeeded in not winning that seat, that's not important, but in leaving your legacy. You will have succeeded in leaving your own mark on history. And that is winning. That is winning, nothing else. And I was again shocked. I was again confounded, thinking, you know what, you have a point, you are so right. And from that point onwards, my entire attitude to my election campaign just changed. I persevered even more, I was passionate even more, and I went out again and again, even longer hours, because I knew that what I was doing was now no longer important for me. It was now no longer important for my town. In fact, it was something that was important to every young person out there. And on election day, knowing full well that again there was no chance of me winning, I went out, I still went out, and I still stood there on polling day. And when the results came in, I had won with over 100 votes. And that to me was a defining moment. That to me was such an unexpected, was such a welcome victory. The words can't express it. Because I knew that I hadn't won for myself anymore. I knew that what I had done wasn't for me anymore. But I knew that what I had done had just opened a door that had not just been closed, it had actually been locked. It had a do not enter sign on it. And it now had the sign saying welcome. That to me changed my life. And that was in May last year. It has been just over a year since I became an elected councillor in Chesham Town Council Chambers. And in that 1 year, right now in the UK, there are 8 people who are standing in the next elections in 2 years' time. 8 people who are already being groomed, being mentored, right now, who are under the age of 25, to do the same thing, to have that same voice and that same platform, to be taken seriously, where the decisions that they make become a reality. In that 1.5 years, I could walk through the corridors, the daughter of immigrants, into Downing Street, into Buckingham Palace, across the whole of Europe, as one of the most influential Muslim women in Europe, as one of Britain's most powerful women, as a 21-year-old who has a road made and named after her, as one of the youngest ever British Pakistani recipients of Pakistan's Presidential Award for being one of the most successful and influential Muslim Pakistanis on a national and international scale. That is what you call a journey, and that is what you call being a leader. What do these 3 words mean? These 3 words mean different things to different people. Because it's not the words that define success, it's how you define success and be those 3 words. Leadership is not about inspiring people to follow you. It's those leaders that we criticize. It's those leaders that we are disillusioned with. The ones who lead and say, follow me. They're not leaders. Leaders are those people who inspire you and say, I have done this. What are you going to do? Leaders are those people who turn around and say, follow me, but show me that you're better than me. Show me that you can do more than me. If I've accomplished all of this in the age of 21, holding 15 positions and studying a degree, what can you do at 21? If I can do it and I've shown it's possible, you can do something even better. You can do it in a greater capacity, because greatness isn't something we learn in a classroom. We don't have chapters on it in our history books or in our economy classes. We have it within us. Greatness is something we are all born with, and the difference between everybody and a leader is someone who brings it out of not only themselves, but everyone around them. Leadership isn't money, and leadership isn't fame. Leadership is legacy. What's yours? Have you left one? Are you willing to leave one? Are you going to be that person who walks on those streets and nobody knows about? Are you going to be the face in that classroom, in that boardroom, on that committee room that nobody knows about, that nobody cares about, that has no impact on anybody? Or are you going to be that person that's not memorable, but that leader who is unforgettable? Are you going to be just someone, or are you going to be that someone? Are you known for something? If you're not, why? What is holding you back? If I didn't let the words terrorist, Paki, Muslim hold me back from what I have become today, what is holding me back? If I didn't let the fact that I come from a working class family, that I am female, that I am a Muslim, when my own relatives came to my father and said, what she's doing is wrong, she's not going to win, she's going to bring embarrassment to the family when she fails. If I had let that stop me, if I had let the fear of humiliation stop me, would I be on this platform here today? Would I have a story? Would I have had a journey? No. The moral of the story is to be a leader. You can't let other people's opinions of you, their judgments of you, hold you back. And if you do, that's not their fault, it's your fault. It's your fault for being weak. It's your fault for not being strong enough and saying, you don't think I'm good enough for you? Actually, you're not good enough for me. That's what a leader does. A leader breaks barriers. They don't shy away from challenges as something that's too hard, a risk is worth too much to take. They break those barriers, and when they do it, they turn around and say, where's the next one? Why? Because they have that belief within themselves. They have that passion that drives them to face up to criticism and turn it around and say, I've done it, I will do it. Because if I can dream it, I can do it. If I believe it, I will make it happen. And if I trust in it, there's no one that can stop me. That is what being a leader is all about. And that is a quality that we all possess within us. It doesn't matter what field you're in. I did it in politics, Sabril did it in business. What's yours? What is yours? Where are you going to go in your life? And in fact, people always say to me, it's really important to inspire young people. It is fundamentally important to inspire young people. But sometimes, and many times in fact, it's more important to inspire those people who are around young people. Because if you don't become role models of success, if you don't become role models of leadership, if you don't become role models of greatness, how will they learn? How will they get that potential out of them? How will they know there's anybody out there to support them? They won't. And sometimes it's not necessary. Sometimes for me and Sabril, it wasn't necessary because we had that belief, we had that determination where we wouldn't let something stop us. But not everybody has. And should that be something that stops them? No. So I think it is a duty upon each and every one of us to show greatness, to show leadership, to show success, and to show potential. And it doesn't have to be on a national scale. It doesn't even have to be on a global scale. It can even be within the home. My parents today, coming from nothing, coming from no wealth, are judges for the Ministry of Justice. They had nothing. It has nothing to do with money. Why? They worked for it. They weren't ministers. They didn't have important jobs. They didn't even have the best education. But they were leaders within our home. If you didn't become a great leader yourself, in whatever capacity, professional, academic, home, then how can we inspire a whole new generation of young people to be the change that we want them to be? How are we going to make them those people on the TV screens where our children don't criticize them like I did, but say, well done? How are we going to teach them that to take those risks, to face humiliation is not a bad thing, but in fact it's something to be embraced, it's something that we need. If you people don't do it, who will? How can we always count on young people to take those initiatives? Why should we always count on them and say, yes, it's the young people's time, let them do it? We have that mentality these days, and it's great, I love it, because it shows that the older generation is putting that trust into young people, and it's fantastic, and it's great. But there's also this attitude of, leave them to it. Yeah, they're young, they'll do it. I'm old, I can't do anything anymore. If you don't show them how it's done, if you don't be that person that they can rely on for support and encouragement and for vision because you have life experience, how do you expect them to do it? Those people will make mistakes just like you did, just like each and every single one of us makes every single day of our lives. They'll make them too. But if you can perhaps stop them from making one you have already made and learned from, that saves them time, that saves them pain, and that saves them from making the same mistakes over and over again. Because if we're going to progress in life, how can we do it by doing the same things wrong we've always done? That, ladies and gentlemen, is my story about how to be a leader. And each and every one of you has your own, and your children, and their children, and the people around you will all have their own. And all I ask of you today is to perhaps just support them and show enough leadership, enough greatness, enough vision And not just quicker. We don't want quantity. We want quality in our leaders. We want those people to lead who have enough substance in them to not just lead one nation, but to lead the entire world on a journey of change, on a journey of progression. If Malaysia has developed so much in 20 years, where are our leaders? Where are the people that are going to take it another 20? Who are they? Do you know them? You do know them. They're in your homes. They work and play alongside where your children work and play alongside. You see them each and every single day. Are you supporting them? Are you doing anything about it? Are you becoming that role model, that figure that they need? If you are, fantastic. If you're not, please take that away today. Thank you. Okay, how do we motivate people? How do we motivate people that have been working for so long, they've lost their belief, they've lost their motivation? How do we turn them into leaders? Is that correct? Is that the question being asked? How many people in this room have heard of the company Apple, iPads and iPhones? Yeah? Okay. Pretty much everybody's heard of Apple. Yes? How many people here have heard of Dell or HP? Laptops. Yes? Everybody here works with IT. We know there's a difference, correct? Today, Apple is one of the most leading branding organizations of progressive technology. Is that something, a statement we can all agree with? Yes, they've done so well that their competitors aren't just behind them, that their competitors are in a different decade to them. Okay? Why? How? Let me tell you. Most people like that organization, Dell or HP, whoever they are, they work from the outwards in. And when I say that, I mean in this way. They work with what, how, and why. What? We make computers and tablets. How? We put together information technology in order to make what we make, our products. Why? Because there's a market for them, there's a need for them, everybody wants and needs a computer to work. Okay? That is their ethos, and that is what most people who have been working in a job for so long do. They know the what, they know the how, and they know the why. Why is Apple different? They don't work from the outside in, they work from the inside out. They don't say what we do, how we do, why we do. They start by saying why. They say, we believe in making life about quality. We believe in helping you make the most of your time. And how we do this is by putting together the best information technology out there that is going to help you become more faster, efficient people to interact with others. And what we do is we create products who enable you to get on with your working life and incorporate your social activities together. So they say, why? We believe in this. How? This is what we do. What? This is the product we make. Whereas other companies say, this is the product we make, this is how we make it, and this is why we do it. How does this apply to people who have been in jobs for so long and have lost that motivation and that belief? Because they walk into the doors every single morning knowing what they have to do, knowing how they have to do it. I need to sit at my desk, how, and send off emails, how, by getting this deadline done and getting this project done, why, for money or for intrinsic satisfaction. Your job as a corporation is to reflect and rebuild the ethos of your company, the passion that your company is built on, into your workers, into your colleagues. You need to live that vision every single day. MARA is an institute that helps indigenous people every single day. Why? To build people, a global capital of human people with integrity. So who are we? We are those people with that integrity. We are those people who can help other people become better people. How do we do this? By providing the best service that we can to Muslims in Malaysia, around the nation. What? We do it by delivering X, and we do it by delivering Y. So you need to refocus what you're delivering. That's not the purpose anymore. It's why you're doing it, why you're walking through those doors every day. Why they should come in? Because they believe in what they're doing, and you as colleagues, as leaders of this organisation, as workers, you need to instill that belief in your corporation. That it's not about what we deliver out there, it's why we do it. And why we do it is because of X and Y. And then how we do it, we need to do it to the best of our abilities because we believe in the why. And the what we do, the product that we deliver and how we deliver it needs to be the best of its kind. Because we're not doing it for the money, we're not doing it for the promotion, we're doing it because we believe in it. And when you get anybody around you, in any workplace, in any professional capacity, in any social capacity, to believe in what they're doing, and to believe that they are important in the cycle of the product that they are delivering. They're not just going to work from 9 to 5, they're going to be those people doing overtime. That I hope answered your question.